Hi everyone, I'm Hunter. I'm with Orr Fellowship and I'm the recruitment lead for Ball State University. Chirp chirp baby. I just graduated from there. Um, Real quick, I really, this whole overall video is gonna be my process through Orr Fellowship, and through that there's gonna be a lot of connecting points, and the most important being why. The why, and seeking that why of why you should apply to Orr Fellowship, and as being a Ball State alumni now, and realizing what Orr Fellowship provides. It's not just this company or this organization, it's different. And I want to really establish that it's very different in a good way. And it builds this foundation after college that you plant this seed and you're going to grow like an oak tree. And not all places in regular jobs do that. And that's really what this is getting under, and also explaining in the background through this application process of what I went through with Orr Fellowship, and these moving parts that I had questions for, because I was like, wow, Orr Fellowship, and we're gonna get through that whole process though. I studied entrepreneurship and innovation and minored in construction management at Ball State University. I had a business mindset and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after college. I built this company, Simpler Living LLC, for, at Ball State, and it was for my major and stuff, and I was thinking I might go after, or I might find a different job. I hadn't really given a whole lot of thought, and it's when I heard about Orr Fellowship the first time, which was in my entrepreneurship class about 2 weeks into the first semester of my senior year. And they were talking about what Orr Fellowship is, the minimum requirements with a 3.2 GPA requirement, that it was these elite performers. They had like 1,200 applicants, only like 5 to 6% acceptance rate. I'm like, wow, it's crazy. But what really struck me when I first heard about Orr Fellowship in this little presentation that I got with my class was building the next business leaders and entrepreneurs in Indianapolis. And that's more or less the mission statement, not word for word, but basically what that is. And I was like, this is something that is very interesting, and that I might go after. And I heard about the breakdown and explanation with Orr Fellowship and everything like that, and I was still confused, because it's this ludicrous, this crazy type of organization, and nothing's like it. And I haven't heard of anything even in comparison close to what Orr Fellowship is like in Indianapolis or anywhere else. And I'm like, it just seems there's a lot of moving parts to understand it. And so I was like, is this like too good to be true? What's going on here? And I was like, I researched it more. I talked to family, friends, my dad, some other people, and some professors about what Orr Fellowship, and if they've heard anything about it, if it's worth applying and everything like that. And everyone that knew it had amazing things to say. In a nutshell, would basically say it's that foundation after your career that's going to grow you like crazy. You're going to network like crazy, and you're going to have opportunities that are out of this world for being a new employee in the industry with a undergraduate college degree. And I was like, wow, okay. That's when I was like excited. I was like, this is something I really want to go after. It's hard to get into, and that's what I was nervous. I'm like, should I even should I even put time into this, given that the application process is, kind of heavy compared to other application process, given for a good reason, because this organization is highly sought after. At Ball State, we don't have the biggest presence with Orr Fellowship, and that's something that I came across because at IU, Purdue, Notre Dame, Ohio State, different big colleges in the Midwest have a good presence with Orr Fellowship. Orr Fellowship recruits from a bunch of different schools in the Midwest. It's only one organization, Orr Fellowship, and you're within the Indianapolis area. And you have these partnering companies in the background, and you have this organization that was being explained to me in this presentation. And I still, after the presentation, talking to people, I still was confused. And I applied though. I submitted my resume. I did a quick video interview, which is like these Spark video interview things. It's like you get a question on the screen, and then you have 60 seconds to answer it, and you have 2 attempts to do that. And it was weird. I was like, I've never had an interview like this, but go with the flow, right? And I met that minimum requirement of a 3.2 GPA. Submitted it. And then after reviewing, like a month later, they were like, yep, you got to the next process. I'm like, sweet, okay, moving forward, it's gonna be awesome. Then we had like two virtual meetings on Zoom, and it kind of explained Orr Fellowship more, what's kind of happening. Your first year you make $50,000, that's set. Your second year you make a minimum of $52,500 salary, which is way above the average graduating undergrad college student makes after their college career. So that was like, okay, wow, you get paid pretty well as well graduating right after college. That's really good to hear. And you have all these 70 partner companies. And so I researched, and after having these virtual meetings, it made more sense. And then I had an interview with an alumni from the program, and he owned his own law firm, and he was an Orr Fellow. And he interviewed me, went all well, and I got to the next process. But through this whole process, I was still learning about Orr Fellowship. I didn't completely understand. The biggest thing for me on how I understood it was, think of Ball State as this company, right? Ball State's a company, and then you have like a business, fraternity, sorority, or a club that you invest a lot of time in. So Orr Fellowship is this business, fraternity, club organization that you're in. It has positions, recruitment lead, there's outreach, there's finance, there's different positions within this organization, right, of these elite performers. And then you also work for your partner company. There's 70 plus partner companies that you don't interview with all. You write down, if you make it to finalist day, you write down the 5 companies that you would like to interview with. I wrote mine down after looking on the website, which has a lot of resources, and it'll help make Orr Fellowship make a lot more sense at the end of the day. And so I wrote the 5 companies that I'd like to interview with, and then the partnering companies do the same thing with the candidates. And then Orr Fellowship has this algorithm that pairs you together, and then you have interviews. And along this process, at finalist day, I pretty well understood what Orr Fellowship was about, and this partner company making sense. If it still doesn't completely make sense, it's fine, but realize that it's this awesome organization that is very unique in a good way. I want to reestablish that. And there's a reason why it's kind of a little bit confusing at first, because it's just not normal, right? But it's a good not normal, because you want to grow and you want to have this successful path in whatever industry you want to go in. And these partner companies are high alpha, there's Lev Plus. I could name on and on these companies you maybe not have heard of, but there's elite companies, and they have to meet requirements. Not everyone gets into Orr Fellowship as a partner company, so these companies apply to Orr Fellowship. Not all of them get in. It's kind of the same process with the seniors that are graduating and trying to get a job and get a position within Orr Fellowship to get a partner company. They're doing the same thing, partner companies. Not all, there's an application process that they go through as well. So not all companies are getting in. That's why there's highly sought out jobs and elite jobs that we have lined up in Orr Fellowship for all these candidates from all over the Midwest schools. And I think this past semester we had 3 Orr Fellows from Ball State, and then, which was the most, but I'm trying to get even more, because I know Ball State has those elite performers, those intelligent, it's you that exactly what I'm talking about. And I know Ball State has this presence, and we're strong, we're these Cardinals, and we fly. And I want you to fly more than you've ever seen in your life, and I want you to grow like crazy within whatever industry. It's mostly a focus in business. There's marketing, there's data analytics, there's business, just a bunch of different business things, but there's unique positions as well, but it's a huge focus in business sector. And the cool thing about Orr Fellowship is you can be a music major, a journalist, you can be this, that. It's not like you have to have a business degree. So I really want to establish that you can have a bunch of different majors that are very diverse. And I know someone with a music major that I've gotten hired through Orr Fellowship, and they're within that Orr Fellowship organization now. So there's all these things in the background that it make more sense as you go through or the interview process. But again, establishing that you thank yourself, you can thank your past self for applying to Orr Fellowship, because you will see what Orr Fellowship is and realize how it will change your life in a good way and push you to this maximum potential you never saw yourself potentially. So I get through this finalist day, right? I write down 5 companies. I have 4 companies I'm interviewing with. Some people have 6, some people have 7, and I was just like, I had that imposter syndrome that I wasn't worthy and I wasn't gonna make Orr Fellowship, like this cut of having partner companies, given that I knew there was another interview process afterwards, because not all the companies got who they want first time around, and they're going to interview some other different people. So it's like there's an opportunity still, but I had 4 companies. I'm like, I'm going to make the most of this. I'm just going to believe in myself and be me during these interviews. It's a whole day you have interviews. Some are back to back to back, but they're kind of spaced out. It's all day interviewing, and you have to take the day off. And I email my professors like a week in advance, hey, Orr Fellowship. A lot of them knew what it was, and they're like, dude, that's awesome. You just even made it to finalist day through Orr Fellowship. That's going to be really good and for you. And so I let them know. I took that day off. I interviewed with all 4 companies. I really stuck with Lev Plus and Indiana Auto Care. Indiana Auto Care was their first year. They have a franchise with Jiffy Lube. They have 17 locations in the state of Indianapolis, or in Indiana, around the Indianapolis area, and 1 in Ohio. And it was helping running these operations in the office, like business, analytics, financials. You work directly with the CEO. So I was like, this is a gold mine for me. So I really wanted, and Lev Plus was a marketing agency that it was very interesting. And I was like, these are really good companies that I really want to work for. And the other 2, I forget the names of, but they were also amazing companies. And I knew whatever I got, no matter what, that it was going to be a really, really, really solid job after college. And it was going to just even be worth it. I was like, even if I get a company that I'm not the biggest fan of, at the end of the day, I'm in this organization that's elite. I'm going to network like crazy. Just through this interview process alone, I gained 50 plus LinkedIn connections. And I got to talk to a bunch of people that are awesome people that have already just helped me a bunch. And one ended up becoming a really good friend of mine already that I didn't know before doing this interview process. But so I did the interviews, right? And then we know that night after interview process, it's Thanksgiving. It's right before Thanksgiving break, which is good because you have your job locked in if you get accepted before your first semester even ends, so you don't have to worry about that in the background going on. So we have this application. My mind just blew. But so I was sitting around and I was like, okay, it's 7, it's 8, it's 9. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. I don't think I got it, because you don't get a call. And they'll send you an email like, hey, there's still another opportunity. Don't let it get the best of you, but let's basically you're not in yet. But so I thought I was gonna get that, and because it'd been so late, and I was like, and then I got the box of ice cream out. I'm like, I guess I got another opportunity, and I was down a little bit. I worked really hard for it. And I didn't think I got it at that point, and then got on some Xbox with some friends and was trying to just change my mind from what happened. And then I got a call at 10:30 or around that time period, and I answered, and it was either a scammer or it was a person that was telling me that I got accepted into Orr Fellowship. And it was the person who was calling me and said, Indiana Auto Care is extending their to let you know that they would like you to work for them. And I was like, trying to hold myself in. I was like, yes, in the background, and I was just like, let's go, got in finally. And I accepted it, and the rest is history. And there's a lot more that can go in the background that we can talk about: phone call, text, email, whatever, or in person when I'm at Ball State, because there's a lot of moving parts, given it's a very unique, outlandish, really cool organization that is not really well known at Ball State. So it's like you have to move this barrier that people aren't as informed as other universities with Orr Fellowship, and to establish that. That's why I'm making this video. But that was kind of my interview process, and all along the way, again, reestablishing that you can look all these companies up on Orr Fellowship website that we have that are very interesting. Oh, there is a mouse, whatever that was. Anyways, going through that whole process was very unique, and it was just, even if I didn't make it, it was well worth the time I spent for that whole process. And I had a job, and I didn't have to worry about a job. I could just finish my last semester at Ball State and not worry about anything. So it was really a blessing to get that, and an amazing opportunity. And if you have any questions, let's talk over the phone. But again, reestablishing that factor of why. This is going to build your career, and thank your past self in the future. Thank your past self for applying. This is what you'll do, because I did the same thing. I thank myself, the past me, the past Hunter, for applying to Orr Fellowship, because it has exponentially changed my life in a good way. I've grown, I've met people, we have these social events as well. We just went to the zoo, we had picnics. There's over 120 or 160 people in Orr Fellowship. It's a 2-year commitment, and with the company that you're with, and then you can keep on working with the company, or you can choose to part with the company and do something else. But Orr Fellowship lasts 2 years, and then it's kind of like, be with your company still. You can say, hey, I want to keep on working for you, or you can go somewhere and work for someone else. But this Orr Fellowship, just this Orr Fellowship being on your resume in the Indiana area, when a lot of people know, trust me, what Orr Fellowship is, you're solid. You're good for life in a solid way with how Orr Fellowship is built with these elite performers. It's hard to get into, the network connections. Who was it? On LinkedIn, it was this, I forget the exact name, but he's CEO of Lessonly and a serial entrepreneur. I said, hey, I'm an Orr Fellow. It'd be awesome if I could connect with you. Connected. Family friend invited me to this like pitch thing in Indianapolis. Went there. There was a guy who was investing in companies. I was talking to him while I was grabbing something to eat, and he's like, "What are you doing after college?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm an Orr Fellow working for Indiana Auto Care." And he said, "No way, I was an Orr Fellow as well." Turns out that guy is the vice president of Genesis, the beer company. He's the vice president for marketing. I was like, "What?" Like, he was an Orr Fellow. All these elite performers that like. Now, I'm not saying everyone's this Elon. Elon Musk or Mark Cuban was a Orr Fellow, but a lot of these Indianapolis entrepreneurs, vice presidents of companies, or high up executives, or people that are really well performers in their industry, a lot come from Orr Fellowship. And if they didn't, they know of Orr Fellowship, and that's why you should really hitting that why you should look after this organization, and why you should apply. If you have above a 3.2 GPA, you've had some leadership positions. If you haven't, we can talk about it and we figure that out. And submitting a resume, solid resume, let's work that out, me and you. Send me it, I can review it, I can help you. I really hit the head, and I got a bunch of help from professors to perfect my resume. I really want to help you with that, because I want to build a presence with Orr Fellowship and Ball State, because I know how intelligent, caring, loving, how awesome, and how much we fly at Ball State, and why I need more Ball State alumni at Orr Fellowship. And that's why I decided to be the recruitment lead for Ball State, and did this video in the background. But that's the whole process. I hope you enjoyed it. And not to be confusing, I'm not in Indiana right now. I'm on vacation, but I wanted to shoot this video while I have some time off, to really get the note across my process and kind of explaining Orr Fellowship as well. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank your past self, your future you. Thank the past self for applying, and drop that seed, and you'll grow like an oak tree. Apply to Orr Fellowship today.